Was a happy homecoming for the Caledonia Warriors this past Saturday as they ended up with a 28-0 victory over La Crescent Hoka. Head coach Carl Fruechte joining us. And coach, what were the takeaways from last Saturday afternoon?
Uh, Happy with our effort. We had a couple mental breakdowns that really were frustrating, but again, you got to give La Crescent a lot of credit. It's a rivalry game, and we're glad to have it. And we think Coach Donovan and his staff are doing a great job trying to mentor those young men. So it gets a little heated at times, and which at the end of the day is great. But we got to make sure that we keep it in focus and not get distracted from our job. But overall, you're not going to complain when you win 28-0, right? But you do got to look at the little things to be great as we go into the tournament season.
And I know you mentioned last week you're not exactly a big fan of Saturday games. This might seem like an obvious question, but how much different is it playing when it's 82 or 83 degrees out as compared to maybe 65 or 70?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think both schools got a little bit tired because of that. And again, I think uh, we don't really condition kids per se. We're more of a speed-based program, so we rely on the kids to eat right, drink right, and get proper sleep. Uh, so we did get a little winded, but again, at the end of the day, nobody cares. You got to find a way, and you're not
Mhm.
going to die. You're going to be all right. And I thought our kids handled it well, but it was actually, Darren. I'll be honest, it was a great environment. It was a night that we honored Coach Ernie Hodges for all of his time that he's given to this program. We wouldn't be Caledonia football without Ernie Hodges, and it worked out really well. Really well. Obviously, yesterday was where we were more concerned. It's nice to have an extra day of recovery for high school athletes, and but other schools got to deal with it as well. And it's just the way it is when you got a referee shortage. And I guess maybe this is when I should say, hey, if you want to help our youth get into high school officiating, please.
And I was going to ask you about Coach Hodges and the recognition that he got this afternoon. Probably many people fit into this category, but what has he meant to Caledonia football over the years?
He's meant everything, Darren. I mean, met him when I was an assistant under Mark Frayling. Ernie lived across the street. This is when we used to play at the old field uptown, the Legion Field, and I remember the day very vividly. He walked across the street, introduced himself to Mark Frayling, and I remember Mark said to me, "Carl, can you take care of this guy?" And so uh, we went for a little walk, and I'm like, talk to me, tell me what you do. And he talked about how he used to be a bodybuilder down in Kentucky, married a local girl, and wanted to he helped he helped kids down in Kentucky and wanted to help us. And he knew a little bit about weightlifting. He was being very humble. And, I'm shortening the conversation, Darren. And I came back to Coach Fraley, and I'm like, I think he's legit. I think he's got a good heart. And we just hit it off, and he started working out kids in his garage. And from there we went to the stage in the old high school, and then the community was gracious enough to build the shed behind of the old school became our weight room, and now it's become a shed for equipment. But he put a lot of time in, Darren, a lot of winter, spring, summer mornings, be him and I. And yeah, I mean, his knowledge is off the charts. We used to be a bigger, faster, stronger school. For football coaches, they'll know what I'm talking about. And I remember we sent Ernie to uh, a weightlifting seminar that was about Olympic lifting. And Ernie came back and said, Carl, I think we should convert over to Olympic lifting. And I went, okay, done. And he's like, you don't want to talk about it anymore? I'm like, no, I trust you. And he always told me how much that meant to him. And I did. I trusted him. And then he taught me, and I learned this, how to teach Olympic lifting. And from there, it's been amazing. We would not be where we're at without Ernie.
And as you get ready for another game this week, you mentioned the one less day of preparation. When you have these Saturday contests, does it affect you the week after a little bit more than the week of with the extra day to prepare last week
Yeah.
and one less day to prepare this week?
Yeah, just, but again, I don't want this to come off as an excuse because it's
Yeah.
not. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's got, sooner or later, right? I think Spring Grove had a Saturday game, if I'm
Hmm.
correct. But Crescent's got to bounce back. And who did Spring Grove play, Darren? Whoever
Uh,
they played, they got to bounce back. It's, um, it is what it is. So you got to be smart. Probably in my early years, we would have ran the crap out of them Monday and did all of our speed stuff. And obviously yesterday we just point blank asked the guys, how your legs feel, and they told us, and so we adjusted the practice. We always tell them we want stallions, and I don't want donkeys. So we want young men that can run like a racehorse and at least be at their best speed volume.
But when you mention you asked the guys on how they're feeling yesterday, how important is it to have that transparency and that trust and make it a two-way street, knowing the fact that they're the ones who have to get ready for this game and you guys got to get them ready? How important is that two-way communication?
Yeah, I think it's extremely important. And to be honest with you, Darren, quite, um, I don't know that young men get the respect, just because they're young. Like we're trusting you, and I hope that they realize that as they get older. Like this is how much faith we have in you, and you got to behave right. You got to do the right things, and you got to listen to us when it comes to recovery. But we're giving them a lot of leadership there. That didn't happen in your day or my day, right?
No.
It was, and but I like that. Again, we're trying to get them ready for the next stage in their life. So if you want to pull a Pinocchio and not tell the truth, then so be it. That's on you. I always tell the guys, it's always on you to tell the truth. Even if I don't like to hear it, I want to hear it. And so we put a lot of responsibility, and we trust our guys that, they want to do well. They want to win.
And this week, you're getting ready to face St. Charles. First two straight road trips coming up. What are you expecting out of the Saints come Friday night?
More veer, 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 right? Matt does a great job up there, running the veer, and they got some really good athletes. Their ex receiver can really run. I believe he was 2 years ago. He was a hurdle state champion. I think he got hurt this spring, unfortunately. We see some good. Their quarterback has a good arm. Running backs look quick on tape, so all it takes is you miss your gap, and you run that veer, down, 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 and they block down, and they expect you to get out of your gap, and we got to make sure that we trust one another. And if we don't do that, yeah, they're going to hit a couple on us.
And when defending the veer, since maybe not a lot of teams that do it nowadays, how does that change your defensive preparation this week? Because basically, football is different, and you used to see veer a lot more than you do now. How does that change your defensive preparation?
Well, you got to remind the guys, like, you're going to be left unblocked at certain times,
Yeah.
and it doesn't make sense to them. So you got to just trust us. Look at the tape. You're going to be left, and they expect their running back to break this arm tackle, and no matter, you're gonna, if you don't do it right, you're gonna miss the tackle by 6 inches, and your brain is going to tell you, well, I'm in the right spot, but in reality, you're not. You're 6 inches off, and this is where we always talk about athletics, and football in particular is all about speed and angles. So you must understand the angle that you got to come to make this play on this quarterback, left halfback, right halfback.
All right, Coach. Hopefully, you can keep the positivity going in the right direction this Friday night. Keep your guys healthy. We wish you best of luck.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you, Darren.
Carl Fruechte, head coach of the Caledonia Warriors. Warriors at St. Charles this Friday night.